Good morning and welcome to the Bold Life livecast, the Test Drive series. My name is Tracy Justice and I am the Be Bold coach and consultant. Now, as a Be Bold coach, what I do is I work with my clients' mindset, and we work on that mindset to work on this process. Before I go on, let me just say this. Today is the 10th episode. So I'm celebrating that I'm on the 10th episode, but I'm going to be vulnerable, right? Because I feel like that's when you can just face your truth, then you can just work through it. I am so nervous today. And now I realize what it is. When I drink coffee, and I got to stop, I can't drink coffee on these days because I'm already a big ball of energy. And then you add coffee and then I get all nervous or whatever. But I had to share that because I'm going to work through this as I complete this episode. So again, welcome to the Bold Life, the livecast. And as a Be Bold coach, what I do is I work with my clients' Be Bold mindset. And what that is first we decide on what is your bold aim? What do you want? Right? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. But part of that process is first clarifying your bold aim. What do you want? Now, I do see that I have somebody watching. I just want to say hello, welcome. Thank you for sharing, spending your time with me today. So I'm going to keep going because that's one of the things that I wanted to work on is acknowledging people that join the show, right? And you won't know until you take a bold move. Okay, and so the second thing that I work on with the Be Bold mindset is the bold identity. Do you know who you are? Now, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer has said that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So do you know who you are? Because you're attracting. Anyways, and then the third part that I help with my clients about their Be Bold mindset is that bold being. And what is that bold being? I like to think that the bold being is, yes, good morning, episode 10. Good morning, Karen. And good morning, Lisa. As always, good morning, Lisa. Happy to see that you're here as well. So, of course, like I said, I want to acknowledge all the people that that are supporting me. Okay, and so the bold aim, the bold being, what I like to say, that is our magnet. And when I say magnet, because we're always attracting, how are you showing up energetically in this life? In this world, are you able to create the world or the life that you want to live? Right? Because if you know what you want and you know who you are, but if you're not intentional about how you're showing up, it'll show in the life that you're living, whether you feel fulfilled or not. And so that's what I do when I work with my clients. Now, as far as a consultant, I help with strategic planning. I like to say people, relationship strategies, leadership development, as well as workshops or seminars and speaking engagements. So enough of what I do. Let's jump into what we're going to talk about today. And that is, do you know what you want? So before I really get into it, I wanted to share a personal story so that, maybe if you hear this story, you can relate it to something in your life, because this channel is about how can I help inspire, create ideas for you to make that bold move, right? That bold move challenge. Oh, and I didn't add it to the screen. So let's add that and let's make that a little bit bigger. So bold move challenge. I started this bold move challenge because this is something that I wanted to do. I wanted to get on social media and I wanted to use this platform for something that I felt that was going to be meaningful for me, but I was scared. I was scared because I didn't really know how I was going to be received or if I even knew what I was doing. But it came to me, it was just like, Tracy, the only way that you're going to make a move is if you just get up and do it. No more planning, no more preparing, just get up and do it. And so because I've done it and I'm learning so much about myself that you can't really learn anywhere else unless you just do it. And so I implore you, I challenge you, can you, make that bold move in your life? At first I was giving myself to November 2nd, and then I decided that I'm having so much more fun. I'm having so much more fun just doing this because every week I do this, I'm learning something new. But the only way that you're going to gain the wisdom, gain the courage that you need to continue on with whatever endeavor you want for yourself is you have to get out and do it. Right? So, but you have to know what you want to do, right? So that's what this episode is about today. So I wanted to share right? Like a vision that I wrote. So I'm not going to do it in today's show, but from 2016, when I first moved here to Indiana, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But at first I was just like, it's okay. But as me and my husband were talking, he said, you know what, you have an opportunity now that we're in a new state that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And so I thought that was really excited. So I'm pregnant in 2016. So I'm not really worried about that. But then here comes 2017. And I am battling depression. I'm going to keep it real, right? Because I want you to see that, you know what, you don't have to be anything particular for you to take a chance on yourself. It doesn't matter your history, what you've been through. You can take a chance and you can start today, right? And so, but I was battling depression because why? Because here I was in this position that I could do whatever it is that I wanted to do. And I finally had to deal with the truth that I did not know what I wanted to do. I mean, I kind of had a feeling, but I didn't really believe in myself enough. So this is a journal entry that I wrote to myself in 2019. So from 2017 to 2019, I am volunteering. I'm doing stuff, getting involved in the community, but because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And I call it a functional depression, because even though I was sad, even though I came home and I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. But the next day, if I had something to do as far as like volunteering on a board, I was out there. And so it helped me decide what I want to do. So by the end of 2019, this is what I wrote to myself, that I was going to create the True Justice Consulting. Now, this is 12/14/2019. I said True Justice Consulting. And the tagline was living through your inner wisdom. Wow. Right. So knowing that you have all the answers, right? So I want to be somebody that facilitates in others, that you have all the answers. Stop looking for the answers outside of others, right? This is what I was thinking about in 2019. It blows my mind when I read it now, because just to see what I'm doing now. And I just totally forgot. But I wrote down that I specialize in helping people tap into their personal wealth of knowledge within themselves to make the choices that they need to make confidently, that they will lead in their own life, creating visual success in their life, learning to fall in love with their own essence of life. Being able to appreciate that power inside of you. And this is funny, because when I read this, I was like, oh my God. Now, I did not call my organization, my company, True Justice Consulting, but it's still along the same lines. And so what do I want to say? What am I saying through reading that? You have to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, you won't move forward. You'll move forward in confusion if you leave it as confusion, right? And so we're going to talk about that today. But before we get started, so I kind of wanted to talk about that, but sometimes it's not easy to just write a vision, because it took me 2 years to get to that. That took me 2 years of fighting with my mindset. I didn't have a coach back then, and I wish I did, right? But it took me fighting with my mindset, telling myself depression is not where I want to be. I do not want to be sad all the time. So even though I was crying and sad, but I still was putting myself out there in the community, trying to keep myself busy. And we're going to talk about that in an article that I found. But before I get started, I wanted to get the ideas going in your head. So if you have those 5 blank index cards, what we're going to do is this exercise called the Bold Life Recipe, which are 5 ingredients to the bold life. Right? Because sometimes when we're talking about, do you know what you really want? Sometimes we don't know what we want. Okay, let me stop. Let me not get into it first. Okay, so get these 5 index cards, right? And just lay it out in front of you. Lay it out in front of you as if it's your canvas, right? And it's okay if it's blank. You don't have to have the 5 ingredients now, because this is something that you're just going to have to work through life and figure it out. Because you can say whatever you want to say, but when you're actually living through life, it'll really reveal itself whether or not these things are important to you or not, right? So you have these 5. And so it could be anything that you feel is important to you. So I did create my own. And so I'll share that with you. The first one I'll share is family. Ooh, I don't know what I just did here, but I did something. I did something to my screen here. Okay. Yes. So the first one is family. I'm not sure if you can see that, if that's showing up right, but I wrote down family for mine. Family is one of the most important things. Yes, one of the most important things in this life. So when I'm thinking about the bold life and what's going to give me fulfillment in this life, I'm thinking like I want things to be right with my family. Like it means a lot to me, right? So family is one of them. So I put down family. So, and another one, just to give you an idea, I'm not going to show you all the ones that I did so that, you just copy me. I'm just joking. But the other one, I'll share is freedom. So I put family and freedom. Number two things that mean a lot to me. That means, so it's not about, it keeps me clear, right? Like okay, so now that I've gotten that, so these are the ideas I want you to think about. What are the ingredients for you? Okay, so I've given you that. So, and then the next thing I want you to think about as we continue on with the show today is, what does it mean to you? Like when you choose, like I chose freedom, I chose family. Define it for yourself. What do those things mean to you? When you say family, what does that mean? When you say freedom, what does that mean? All right, so going through the process. So first, you have your 5 index cards and you're thinking about what are the top 5 ingredients that give you the bold life. And then after you've decided what those are, then define each and every one of those. Just a sentence, not a story, just a sentence, right? Just a simple exercise for you to determine what would you consider to be the bold life. Yes. So let's share this. I want to share this, Karen, because this is awesome, right? So you said your bold move is clarifying your true purpose. That's right? Having a new voice and redirecting my thoughts. Awesome. Thank you for sharing your 3. I appreciate that. And so after you've defined them and you've gotten all the items, all your ingredients, right? And you defined them. If you want to rank them, that's fine. Now, I want you to think about, how are you honoring those things? Right? How are you honoring those things? And then how do you feel about the ingredients you chose? So after you've decided how you're honoring those things, right? Because what you're going to notice is that as you go through a few days of those things that you say that you honor, you're going to realize that there's probably things that you don't really honor. Right now, it's going to sound confusing because you have to go through the exercise, but I want to kind of give you the idea as I'm talking about some inspiration. And then I want you to think about, are you the author of your wants or has it been learned? Right? Okay. So then at the end, I'm going to go through this, but I wanted to, oh snap, I did not bring, I didn't bring the article with me. So that's fine. It looks like I'm just going to have to wing it on that. That is so funny. So there was this article, and I think it's from the Frontiers of Psychology. Ooh, and they talked about what were the top 3 factors. So the survey was asking people questions. They wanted to know, what do you feel like would give you that satisfaction in life? So the article is Frontiers of Psychology, if you want to Google that. And the highlighted areas on that, they talked about the unfolded life. That was a number 1 factor that people had when they think about a fulfilled life, a well-done life, a life where they're pleased, is the unfolded self, meaning that they get to be their authentic self in everything that they do. And I thought, well, of course, right? When you're thinking about, for me, when I think about the bold life, I just want to be free, right? Freedom was one of them. I want to be free. I want to be able to create the hours that I want to create for myself. I don't want to feel like I'm rushing all the time, rushing here, rushing there. Another, family, right? Here's another, family is another thing that I care about, right? That was one of the things that I share. So the next question was, how do I show that I honor that? There was a day where I had to really sit down and think, because I was really thinking, family means so much to me. Family means so much to me. I wish I had so much time to do this with my boys, or do that as a family. And then one day I don't know why, but sometimes it just hits you like, duh. If you want time for your family, you have to make time for your family. You actually have to do the things that show that you honor your family, right? So then that was something else that it talked about in the article. So not only is it the unfolded life, but how are you making time for the things that you say you want? There was another article, I think it's American Surveys. Golly, I can't believe that I didn't bring them with me. But for some reason, maybe the universe said, no, you're not going to rely on these documents. But the second one was from the American Surveys, something like that. And it talked about how what their surveys have shown that people actually live lives in contradiction to what they want. Right? So you say you honor family, right? Like, so, and that's what the article talked about. So I thought it was just amazing that I found articles, or maybe it's just confirmation bias, but I found articles that touch in line with what I wanted to talk about today. But it talked about how we live in contradiction to the things that we want. So we say we want family, for example, or no, freedom. Freedom is so much easier to explain. So I say I want freedom, right? Like I want to be able to create the life that I want to live. That means I choose the hours of when I work or when I go out, right? Okay, so great, I do that. But then I find that I'm not doing the things that I want to do until I start checking things off of a list, right? So I'm not really, maybe I just want to go to the pool and go hang out, but I'm not going to the pool and hanging out because I say, first, I need to do this research. First, I need to take care of that. Then I need to take care of this. I just lay out all these laundry list of things that I say I need to do. But then yet I say that freedom is so important to me. So in that situation, if freedom is so important to me, then I need to start questioning, why am I running off? Why am I rushing off to take care of all these things on my to-do list instead of doing the things that I want? And so I thought that was just an interesting thing to think about. So the things that you say that you want, how are you honoring that? Because what that survey, American Survey, and maybe when I get the articles after this, I will post it to this video so that you can see the information for yourself and then see what do you make of it. But I just thought it was just really interesting that it confirms that, because I know for myself, I knew what I wanted, but it was hard for me from 2017 to 2019 to finally get to that point in 2019 to actually articulate a vision of what I wanted. I knew the feeling, but I just couldn't explain what the actual vision looked like. And sometimes it's hard. So that's why using these 5 index cards helps you. It just gives you a starting place and then you can start drilling down. I like to say, first you have that high over level view and then you drill down to the bottom. And then what was the third thing? The third thing, which I thought, yes, I agree with. So things that, that gives people that feeling of a fulfilled life is being part of something bigger than themselves, being able to connect to community. And I thought, and it's just funny because I felt like, wow, what an intuitive article, because that naturally resonates with me. See, because after you do all this work, when you're working on yourself and you're doing all this self-exploration, you get to the point where you realize that family's important, community is important. Our neighbors, how we interact with our neighbors in the community that we live in is so important. That's part of the spiritual journey. Connecting with others and being able to see others for who they are, right? And that was something that, was another factor to what people, how people feel fulfilled in life. And I just thought, yeah, that's to me automatically, right? Because when we think about it, it's relationships. Now, I talked about that last week in the Johari window, but relationships are the fabric, are the foundational fabric of everything. If I have an idea, I have a goal, it really stems from the relationships that we build in our, with ourselves first, with our family, and then with our community, our neighbors. So I came up with this quote, right? Because when you think about what you really, really want, sometimes you think it's easy and it's a clear box, right? You can just say, here it is. This is what I want. Bam. But how many times I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure that there's others who may be listening that can say, yeah, I've done that too, where you try something, you do it, and you realize from what you've learned about it that you don't like it. Or you try something and you think that fulfillment that you're going to get, or that fulfillment that you imagine, that you attach to that thing, you realize that you get it and it's not giving the fulfillment that you're looking for. So when I ask the question, what do you really want? It's not that superficial answer, right? Because it gets down to the deep core of who you are. Because what you really want is so much deeper than the superficial things, right? And so, but what you want, it always starts with working on yourself first, right? Like it never includes somebody else first. It includes you first, right? Because it's always about relationships, because everything's about relationships. Everything is about people. You can't really name one thing that doesn't include people, right? Even when you're by yourself, that person is you, right? Because you are the first example, yourself. So when I think about relationships and community, so I think about how, we work on ourselves first, right? And then when we're able to work on ourselves, then we're able to go out into the community, right? Because one of the things that the article talked about too, is that not only did it talk about, being able to leave a legacy, but it talked about, creating meaningful relationships with others, because they said that was part of no, that's not what it was. Golly, what was it? See, that's why you got to be present, right? Because I was so nervous about today's show, and I was just like, oh my gosh, can I just calm myself down with this coffee that I drank this morning? And now, but I'm just going to trust the process, right? Because I totally forgot what I wanted to say about that last article. Okay, so then that's fine. Let's go on to the things that hold you back, right? So we talked about what do you really want? Let's get clear, and gave you some questions, hopefully gave you some antidotes to really challenge what is it that you want. Oh, there was another thing. The things that you want, another way to challenge it. Are there things that you wanted to do? Oh, now I remember. Or is it the things that you've learned that you should be doing? Right? Because this process is really going to help you challenge what you think that you want. Because after you look at the things that you say you want, you'll be able to see, am I really honoring those things? And if I am honoring those things, how am I honoring those things? And if I'm not, why aren't I? Do they really mean that much to me? I mean, is it yours or is it learned? But okay, what I was saying about relationships, what did I wanted to say? The article talked about things that people can do to help them connect with the community. And it talked about volunteering. And I just thought, and it also talked about how volunteering helps with understanding who you are. And I thought, well, yes, definitely, because I lived that life, right? Like it was funny because through volunteering, I knew what I learned about myself is that I love to meet with people, to collaborate, and to come up with ideas. I love to brainstorm. I love to be able to think outside the box. I love to challenge our ideas. I just love to find a way to get wisdom from the people that are in the room. So I loved that. And I got that feeling every time I connected with a different group. And what I also loved about the volunteering was that I got to really learn more about myself by interacting with people. So not only was I in this process of self-exploration, understanding who I was, but I got a better idea of what that looked like when I was interacting with other people, right? So am I just saying that I am a particular way? Or am I, when I interact with other people, then I'm able to really see, am I really that kind person? Do I really live an unmasked life? See, that was another thing that came out from that article too, that, confirmed a lot of things, thinking about what do you really want? Sometimes when you go through life just achieving the success part, that's where imposter syndrome is able to come in, where you are successful financially on the outside, but inside, deep down side, you don't feel successful. You feel poor. You feel like you're in poverty. Right? Where does that come from? It comes from when we're not able to really connect the things that we're doing to who we are, right? When we're able to stay grounded through the process, right? Because when you get to know yourself, right? So when you get to know yourself, personally and you interact with others, you get to have those things that you think about yourself challenged. Maybe I'm not as kind as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not as clear as I think I am. So interacting. So relationships are also important, right? To that self-awareness. It helps you with what do you really want? Because sometimes you think you want something and then it has a lot to do with people, because everything has a lot to do with people, but maybe it has more to do with people and relationships more than you can handle. But you got to be willing to take those chances, right? Because like I said, this channel is about how do I challenge you to really think about a bold move challenge? How do I challenge you to get out of the status quo? Feel like not right. Feel upset about having to settle, right? Like be angry with that. Be upset. Like, why do I have to? That's what I want to challenge you to. I want to challenge you to the point where you're like, if I don't do this for myself, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm hoping that you get these ideas, that I spark these things in your mind. That was another thing. But see, this one I saved on my phone. And this was another article I found that was really interesting. Oh, come on. The phone's not popping open. And it said, okay, so frontier psychology. So I went to the site that talked about the survey, the article that I wish I had earlier that I don't have. But in their actual survey, their introduction, they said, if psychologists wish to improve the human condition, it is not enough to help those who suffer. The majority of normal people, the normal people out here, we need examples and advice to reach a richer and more fulfilling existence. So it's not about just helping people when they get to the point where they're just completely depressed and torn, but it's like, how do we come together and help each other, inspire each other, give each other examples of what does it mean to take the next step in our lives? What does it take to take things? What does it mean to take things to the next level? And so that's what I'm hoping to do with this channel, right? To challenge you. So we are down to 3 more minutes. So here's what I'm to wrap things up real quick. So we talked about, what do you really want? Do you know what you want? Right? Because if you don't know what you want, you don't know what to ask for. You don't know, because you're constantly receiving things, because that's the magnificent thing about us being human beings. We ask, we set our intention, we receive constantly. But where are you positioned, right? Where are you positioned? Are you coming from a place of lack? Are you coming from a place of abundance? That makes it makes a world difference. Like, it is that much big. Where are you positioned, lack or abundance? But you have to know what you want, though. Before you can even move forward, before you can take a step, you have to know what you want. So I challenge you with these five index cards, the Bold Life Recipe. If you could only have 5 ingredients to create the life that you want to live, the life that you've been dreaming to create for yourself, what are you going to do? What are those things that you need? And then what I do, and what I'm also challenging you to, is to challenge yourself on those 5 things every day. If you're looking to journal, this is a great way to start journaling. Every night, ask yourself at the end of the day, okay, do I still really care about those 5 things that I said that I care about? And if I do, how did I honor those things today? Talk about, how did you honor those things? How did it feel? What do you feel like you need to do better? See, because if we're really focused on what we want in the future, we know that everything that we do now is what really matters. What we do now matters, right? Not what we do later, what we do now. And if you can start today, think about that. What do you really want? Are you really clear? Because if you aren't clear, that could be the reason why you're not living the life you want, because you just really haven't given yourself a chance to be clear and write that vision and make it plain for yourself. Okay, so 1 more minute. So I just want to say, thank you for watching. If there's something that you learned today or something that challenged you, please be bold enough to share it in the comments, right? Or you can DM me, or you can send me an email at tjustice@beboldbu.com. It's about taking that first step and acknowledging that you want to live a different life. And after you've acknowledged that, what life is that? Right? So, with clarity, with love, right? Because love feeds everything, fuels everything. So with love, clarity, and confidence, may you be bold. And my gosh, may you be you. All right. Thank you. Bye.